This week's haftara for behaloscha is Roni V'Simchi, taken from the Novi Zcharia and Treyasar. It's interesting to note that this haftara is also the haftara for Shabbat Chanukah. We do not find often that the same chapter in Tanakh is taken and used on another occasion. We have it with Parshas Noach, and then that part of that haftorah is repeated as the Shiva B'Nechemta from the Novi Yeshayahu, and we have it part of the haftorah from the Novi Hosea of Shuva Yisrael. So part of that is also appears again in a different Shabbos. But basically speaking, the haftorahs are specifically isolated to the parsha itself. And the reason for that is that the entire custom of having a haftarah is based on a decree that happened in the time of the Romans, when the Romans banned Kriyas HaTorah. But somehow they allowed that the haftarah could be read. And so the rabbis chose haftarahs that somehow reflected the ideas or the structure of the parsha itself. And therefore, certain halachas were developed regarding haftarahs should have 21 psukim, though there are many haftarahs that do not, because then that would be 7 aliyot, 3 psukim each. And the haftarah originally was to be read from the cloth. In other words, it was to be read like a Sefer Torah. Over the ages, it has taken on different forms, different customs. There are entire communities, especially in the Hasidic community, that do not even read the haftarah out loud. Everybody's supposed to read it to himself. But in any event, this week's haftarah speaks about the menorah. That's the topic, and that's what connects it to the parsha. Behaloscha saneros, al pnei menorah yiru sheva saneros. That's what it says in the parsha. And in the haftarah, the Novi Zcharia, also connects the menorah to the redemption of the Jewish people. Now the Novi Zcharia is at the beginning of the Second Commonwealth. The Bayesheni, he's one of the people of the Anshe Knesset Agdola. He's there with Ezra. So there were 3 Nevi'im, Chagai, Zcharia, Malachi. These 3 Nevi'im were the transition from Bayis Rishon to Bayis Sheni. And in the haftarah itself, the Novi reflects part of the problems that existed then. In the book of Ezra, the problems are stated more boldly, clearly. Here they are only alluded to. But it was a time of great intermarriage. That there were many non-Jewish women that existed within the Jewish community, and that therefore there was an entire question about legitimacy and who was a Jew, and Ezra had to deal with all of that. And that's part of the reason why the Gemara's the Mishnah in Kedushin is Asor Yuchsin Olum Bebavel. When Ezra came back, And there were already 10 different levels of pedigree within the Jewish world. And who could marry whom and how it was going to work, all was in flux. So we see that in the haftara also. And the Kohen Gadol, who is as part of the vision of the Novi, so it says, V'asoton omed al yamino lisitno. The Sotan, whoever, whatever we understand that to be, but in all respects it is an accusing angel. An angel that points out the deficiencies in human beings. And so at the end will be, the Rebbeinu Shalom will say, Yigar Hashem b'cho hasotan. Yigar b'cho Hashem abocher b'Yerushalayim. Harei zeh ud mutzol me'esh. But the Sotan is there in the beginning, and he points out that the Kohen Gadol really should not be entitled to resume his duties and to get the honors, because it says, "V'hu hayolovush begodim tzoin." In the vision, the Kohen Gadol is wearing stained clothing, dirty clothes. So the Gemara says, what does it mean he's wearing dirty clothes? So the Gemara says, because his son's intermarried. So here you have a Kohen Gadol with non-Jewish grandchildren. And so therefore the Sotan is there. He's there lisitno, he's there to accuse him that he should not assume the office. And therefore the Rebbeinu Shalom Kaviyachal intervenes. That's what we see in the Psukim. And the Rebbeinu Shalom says, Yigar Hashem b'cho hasatan. I'm angry at you for bringing that up. Harei zeh ud mutzol me'esh. Ud mutzol me'esh means it's just a piece of wood that was plucked from the fire, that should have been destroyed. So the idea here is that the Jewish people suffered the Churban, and they went into exile, and they had the harrowing experience of Purim. So what do you expect from them? And he's only a survivor. He's Ud Mutzol Me'esh. And because of that, therefore, the Navi says that we should dress the Kohen Gadol in his vestments, in his garments, with tiferes, and that he should be the one that guards the tradition. And we'll have it later from a different Navi. Kohanim v'alavim b'nei tzodok asher shomru es mishmarti v'sos b'nei Yisrael me'olai. They will guard when the Jewish people may stray, they'll go away, the Kohanim will keep it. So that's a picture of the time, a very difficult time. And then we have, he sees in the vision, Zerubbabel, who could have been the king of Israel. He's from the house of David. And he could be the leader of the exile and the leader in Eretz Yisrael, but somehow Ezra, who's a Kohen, overrode him. And Forshim say, it says, Mizeh Hara Godol Zerubbabel. This great mountain that stands. The great mountain is, he looks at the problems of the Jewish people. He said, there's no human being that can solve this. except the people that we have running for prime minister. But otherwise, the ordinary people are overwhelmed by the problems. And maybe that's why he did not succeed to become the monarch. And it was given to Ezra, who somehow was able to overcome the mountain. He was able to level the mountain so that the Jewish people progressed and were able to rebuild themselves and rebuild the temple. And so then the menorah was not in the Beis HaMikdash to give light. The Gemara says, "V'chila ora hu tzarech." The Rebbeinu Shalom need, candelabra to shed light. The Rebbeinu Shalom Kaviyachal is the source of all light, of all energy, of everything that exists. And in the Beis HaMikdash itself, that the Tanakh describes that the windows were shkufim atumim. They were narrow on the inside and wide on the outside because the light emanated from inside, not from outside. So the light went from the Beit HaMikdash to the outside world. But the purpose of the menorah is the Meforshim explain, the menorah is the Ner Tomid. It's the eternal light. It's the Ud Mutzal Me'esh in a different form. It's the survival of the Jewish people under all circumstances. No matter what, the menorah will light. The menorah will carry us. And so we see that the menorah becomes the Nes Chanukah, the menorah becomes Neirot Shabbat, becomes Havdalah, everything in Jewish life that indicates this continuity is based on the fact that we had a menorah. And that's what the Parsha really teaches us in the beginning. Behaloscha et hanerot, you're going to light the menorah. Because of the fact that it's not that God needs it, it's that you need it. And that will become the symbol, and it's not accidental, it's the symbol of the state of Israel. It's been the symbol of the Jewish people for a long, long time. And when the Romans wanted to mock us, so they put the menorah on the Arch of Titus. But again, the Romans aren't here anymore. And the Jewish tour guides are the ones that take people to see the Arch of Titus. So that message of the menorah should not be lost upon us. I want to ask you, if I can, I have a family that's in desperate straits that literally have nothing for Shabbat. I've been able to help them a little. Whatever anyone can do, it would be most appreciated. It's a big mitzvah. Rabbi Chananya ben Akash Omer Ratza Kodesh Baruch Hu L'Zakas Es Yisrael L'ficha Chibra Lehem Torah Mitzvot Shenemar Adonai Chafetz Siman Tzidkoi